When you think girl-child education, think Muvi Christian Academy. Muvi Christian Academy, excellence through Christian education. Are you a parent looking for a school with values-driven ethos and a firm belief in an all-encompassing Christian education for your child? Then look no further. At Gospel Outreach Christian Academy, we make the educational experience of your child as rewarding as possible. Offering an excellent reading program that gets our reception children reading within 6 weeks, and examination practice packages tailored to prepare our learners sufficiently for final exams, helping your child make the passing choice to holistic education. A school that believes in helping struggling students get up to speed, providing for the mind, body, and soul. Enroll your child in any of the grades from baby class to grade 12 and enjoy flexible payment plans with up to 5% discount for payments made during school holidays. For information, call 0979 404809. Gospel Outreach Christian Academy. Excellence through Christian education. Scan the QR code to apply.
Good evening, welcome to Muvi TV News. Let's have a look at the headlines. Skeleton widow argues marriage does not impose duty to take sick spouse to hospital. Zupe calls on schools to prioritize safety in flood-prone areas ahead of reopening. NCP condemns removal of PF from the Tonse Alliance. CSPR welcomes yuan tax policy, calls for clarity on mining sector taxation. And now, the detail with Kondwelani Jose. A Lusaka widow facing a manslaughter charge over the death of her husband, whose skeleton was later found in their matrimonial home, has told the court that marriage does not impose a legal duty on a spouse to take a sick partner to hospital. Sylvia Mutaba, 52, made the submission through her lawyers in her final arguments before judgment, rejecting the state's claim that her alleged failure to seek medical care led to her husband's death. Her lawyers from the Legal Aid Board and Messrs. Okware and Associates argued that the law does not require a spouse, by virtue of marriage alone, to take positive steps to preserve the life of a partner, including taking them to hospital. They submitted that the only legal obligations arising from marriage relate to maintenance under the Matrimonial Code Act number 20 of 2007. Mutaba of Lusaka's Luangwa Garden area has denied the manslaughter charge and is accused of causing the death of her husband, George Kalaba. Between July 1, 2023 and January 14, 2025, judgment in the matter is expected on February 16. The Lusaka City Council has today signed an MOU with Civic Forum Humanity Zambia. The Memorandum of Understanding between Lusaka City Council and Civic Forum on Humanity Zambia is aimed at empowering 120 women from Mandevu, Kamanga, Mutendere East and Chawama. The initiative will support women in forming cooperatives and village banking businesses and entrepreneurship skills. Speaking on the Media Forum for Humanity, Habitat Executive Director Grace Mtonga said the initiative is aimed at empowering the local community as they clear the environment. She revealed that the project is aimed at fighting the effects of climate in the country. Meanwhile, Forum Board Chairperson Patrick Musole says the organization remains committed to helping clean the environment so that the marketeers can operate in a clean surrounding.
So the project that we are trying to implement with the Lusaka City Council, we are basically targeting empowering communities We are implementing this project under our third strategic pillar, which looks at the aspect of land, environment, and climate resilience. So the project for now is targeting first about 120 households, as well as marketeers. And these marketeers, we are going to build their capacity in terms of waste management. They have to sort out the waste because the technology that we are using is basically the biodigester, which is a portable biodigester that we are going to install here. So the waste that is fed into the biodigester is actually digestible waste. So the byproduct of this biodigester is biogas, which is cooking gas. We are also trying to promote environmental preservation because we want more people to stop using charcoal and begin to use these clean energy solutions. Other than that, we are also looking at the aspect of improving household nutrition. So the biodigester will be producing two products. The first one is the gas and then also the digested fertilizer. So we are encouraging urban gardens where people can be able to grow their own food. But much more, we are also going to start working with the smallholder farmers, orient them on how this fertilizer works, as well as also improving the aspect of just managing their finances. So over and above, this is focusing on enterprise development. So we want the women that are trading to make sure that nothing goes to waste. Even the food that is rotting, they can still churn it to give them some form of an income. And working with the Lusaka City Council, we know that the aspect of waste management actually falls under the local authority. And for us, really partnering with the Lusaka City Council is a huge milestone for us as an organization because we shall work together to make sure that we actually transform our communities, we transform our cities to make them safe and resilient. So basically, this is what brings us here today. We have signed the MOU. And the MOU that we have signed, the initial one will last 5 years. And then after that, based on project performance, because we don't intend that this project ends up here, we intend that this project should be extended to other markets. And by God's grace, we would want actually it to expand probably to several other mega cities of the country. So
that we see here, you can see there's a lot of wastage of food products that is thrown away, and yet we can make so much value out of this. So this project is actually aimed at converting this waste out of our market into energy so that we can use it and be able to sell it. And that would ensure that households will have access to affordable energy. You know the impact of climate change, we cannot continue to depend on charcoal because of its negative impact on the environment. And so this project will give an opportunity to households to access gas that is made out of this waste products. So it's an opportunity for us as a forum to be able to contribute to clean energy for households. So this is...
The NDC candidate has described the state of garbage in parts of Chawama as unacceptable, especially for a constituency located just a few meters from Cairo Road in Lusaka. He says residents should not continue living among uncollected waste, a situation that worsens during the rainy season, and has pledged to prioritize proper waste management once elected into office on January 15, 2026. Residents of Solwez's College area have been cut off from accessing the Central Business District CBD following a heavy downpour that fell on Thursday night, which led to the flooding of College Bridge. Several residents have described the situation as hazardous and a long-standing problem that authorities have failed to address over the years. They say the flooded bridge poses a serious risk to both motorists and pedestrians, especially during the rainy season. As a result, vehicles and community members have been unable to cross, disrupting movement and economic activities in the area. Meanwhile, Solwezi Mayor Remi Kalepa visited the area to appreciate the extent of the damage.
In terms of crossing on this point, We have plans to upgrade this road to continuous standard, including the bridge as well. The bridge, the webstone, just like we did in other roads. So what we are going to do quickly is to do that we bring waste rock from the mines and make it a bit safer for motorists, and as well as unblock the culvert. That is also giving us a challenge. It's been there for years and years. This is why we're going to remove it and push out a proper bridge. So for now, we just want to caution our motorists and residents to be conscious, more especially for the young ones. We appeal to the community. Yeah, we know that we're in the calamity in terms of the situation because of the rains, which on the other side is good to the country because the country has been having challenges to do with power generation, and also it's good for our farmers. But in terms of the road network, the rains is always giving us a big challenge because most of our roads need upgrade. It's the reason why we've made efforts, we're making efforts in upgrading our roads. We are doing this, we would have been in a different situation if these roads back in the years, at the time when certain, our colleagues were in government, if they helped the district in terms of having township roads. But we have no time to start looking back. We have to continue making efforts, and the community have seen what we are doing in the community in terms of upgrading. But during this rain season, we have to double our efforts in making these roads possible as they are waiting for upgrade of roads within the standard.
Your Worship, I think you're aware that this is not the only river that is flooded. I'm sure even in part of Kazomba, one of the roads has been washed away. Maybe what would be the immediate measure for, I think, most of the areas?
Yeah, like I'm saying, most of these areas are lacking proper drainage and also just proper culverts. This stream comes from the same place you mentioned, Kazomba. It's the same stream that runs from that side, and we are very much aware. And from here, we are rushing there as well just to check on the situation and also come up with measures that are going to safeguard the life of people.
Thank you for the time, Your Worship.
The Mpika Town Council on Thursday afternoon buried 2 unclaimed bodies of adult males aged between 30 and 40 years. The burial, facilitated by the Department of Public Health, comes after the 2 individuals spent 3 months in the mortuary without any relative coming forward to claim them. Mpika Town Council Senior Health Inspector, Mr. Francis Kapila, led the burial proceedings, which were held at a local burial site opposite Mpika Day School.
My name is Francis Kapila. I'm the Senior Health Inspector for Mpika Town Council. So with me here is Mr. Edward. Yeah, we work together. We are just from buying unclaimed bodies, of which those bodies are 2, which were picked. One body was picked from the bus station. An individual just slept there. Is not known. The bodies were brought in by police. Then.
Meanwhile, Lundazi Town Council Chairperson Gordon Tembo has expressed concern over the repeated abandonment of the government-funded Palace project for Chief Mwase, describing the situation as a setback to development in the district. Mr. Tembo says the lack of progress on the project, despite government intervention to directly pay the contractor, is undermining efforts to improve the welfare of traditional leaders and deliver on the government's development agenda.
This appeal is going to the Republican President, His Excellency, Mr. Kainde Hichilema. Your Excellency, we are here at the site where the palace for His Royal Highness Senior Chief Mwase is being constructed. But what is happening here, Your Excellency, is not good at all. Because this palace, it started a long time ago. Just there, Your Excellency, after your good pronouncement that we should have palaces here, the contractors have totally failed to do do a good job here. They had come and they had disappeared. After some time, they came just for a short while and they are gone. Right now, we are on site and there's no one here on site. There's no one. We know very well, Your Excellency, that you have good policies. You mean well for the people of Zambia. You mean well for the chiefs. You respect the chiefs. You love the chiefs. And that's why you have made this decision to do chiefs' palaces for them. But the contractors, Your Excellency, they are not helping. They are not helping us. So we are here. We went to check on His Royal Highness Senior Chief Mwase to pay courtesy after the floods in Ondaz. And he's making a strong appeal that the palaces should be done as soon as possible. So we are here on site, Your Excellency, to mention as well and to emphasize that we are begging.
Luapula Province Minister, Engineer Nason Musonda, has welcomed the recent appreciation of the Zambian kwacha against international currencies, describing it as a clear sign that the country's economy is steadily recovering under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking in Mansa, Engineer Musonda says the strengthening of the local currency reflects deliberate policy decisions, improved economic fundamentals, and growing confidence in Zambia's economic direction.
I'm sure because of the boss here in terms of politics. But as provincial minister, I can speak to you that for Luapula Province, President Hakainde Hichilema is our biggest asset, is our biggest project. To ensure that for all these things that I've talked about, colleagues, we need President Hakainde Hichilema to stay the course to ensure that they're completed. We can't change a winning team. President Hakainde Hichilema has demonstrated that, and like I was listening yesterday to Honorable Milopi, we must minimize on politicking. We must minimize on politicking and focus on development. So much that long after we are gone, no one should reverse this. For us as a country to develop, to come out of poverty, we needed to have an educated citizenry. If we don't do that, we are going to lag behind as a province. And so I want to thank again the provincial leadership, and particularly the leadership at education, because we are smiling. And I've told the PO that we don't want to just be number one for 2026 and it ends there. We want to remain in that poor position for a considerable number of years to come. And that is our aim. But in conclusion, colleagues,
the Zambia Union of Professional Educators, ZUPE, has emphasized the importance of prioritizing the safety of learners and teachers as schools prepare to reopen, particularly in flood-prone areas. In an interview with Muvi TV News, ZUPE President Nabweza Mwene highlighted the need for school management to take necessary precautions to prevent any harm to learners and teachers. According to ZUPE President, school management should carefully assess prevailing conditions to ensure that pupils and teachers are not exposed to any danger.
That the management of that particular institution, they must assess the situation on the ground. If the situation is so aggravated that they cannot reopen the schools, then the advice would be that let them see what is the possible way forward. We don't want to have a situation whereby when the schools has reopened, it presents a danger to the learners and also to our members. And in addition to that, we are also aware that when we have such situations, cholera cases, they tend to be prone.
In Kasama and of course Shawama, to exhibit high levels of professionalism for what we are known to be, even as we get involved through the Electoral Commission of Zambia in conducting these elections. we should make sure that we uphold the integrity of teachers even when the situation is tense. We do not accept a situation where our members are used by politicians to find them wanting.
New Congress Party leader Peter Chanda has described the removal of the Patriotic Front (PF) from the Tonse Alliance by Dan Pule as a slap in the face of the legacy of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Speaking to Muvi TV News via telephone, Mr. Chanda says the decision by the Dan Pule-led team to remove the PF from the Tonse Alliance is untimely, especially at a time when the party is yet to bury the remains of the late former president. He says the late President Edgar Lungu had wanted the alliance, then headed by the PF, to serve as a key pillar within the opposition alliance. Mr. Chanda further stated that the movement will not have it easy after removing the PF, noting that the current PF leadership under acting President Given Lubinda had the blessings of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. He added that the Tonse Alliance, in its current form, is a failed project.
No PF a party in the Tonse Alliance any longer. The 7 is not coming from the PF party. It's coming from the ECL political movement. Okay, that is not the PF party. That is led by Mr. Given Lubinda. And clearly, obviously, that party led by Mr. Given Lubinda and its leadership, they are no longer part of the Tonse Alliance.
And what has happened to Tonse Alliance today gives sad readings, and I would like the media and the people of Zambia to now know the truth. I was the first one that approached ECA when it was being disrespected in Tonse and said, let us form what we called NCP-PF Alliance. Then Comrade Zumani brought an idea of Tonse Alliance. When we had already agreed with ECA and had even written him a letter to stand as presidential candidate for the NCP in the coming election, which is 2026. That matter was agreed, and I was the first member of Tonse Alliance. And when we formed Tonse Alliance, the agreement was that PF shall be the anchor party of the Tonse Alliance. A plot to take over NCP was orchestrated with the blessings of Honorable Lubinda. And today, in the same manner that they wanted to take NCP on the 27th of October, where the message came from Comrade Zuman himself, who said within 24 hours, the top leadership of NCP will take over NCP if you don't come back to us and resolve matters peacefully, procedurally, and amicably. I want to state that today, the accusations that have been labeled on NCP, the mud that has been thrown on NCP, today I want to state to the Zambian people that we stand vindicated, as you can see for yourself. And today Tonse Alliance feels they are bigger than the PF that they were anchoring on. But I made a decision, and we are standing as a political party alone. Today, those people do not have any iota of authority to talk about Isia's legacy. Where on earth can you talk about the consultant becoming a chairman of the ECL legacy movement? ECL had appointed Honorable Lubinda. Why have you dishonored him? It's quite unfortunate that even before we bury ECL, they go on to remove the person that he had appointed to be acting chairman. They could have let Lubinda go carry on as chairman. Even what they came up with to say co-chairman, that is totally, because the chairmanship belonged to the PF. Let me tell you, the alliances, even the Tonse Alliance itself, in its current form, it is already a failed project. Alliances don't work. What works is the people galvanizing towards one political party, and they say who are.
The Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, CSPR, has taken a keen interest in the policy pronouncement by the Ministry of Finance and National Planning regarding the decision to adopt the yuan as one of the currencies for settling mining taxes. CSPR asserts that fiscal and monetary policy decisions are central to Zambia's economic positioning and overall poverty reduction efforts. The organization acknowledges the government's justification for accepting the yuan for tax settlement from 4 selected Chinese mining firms, citing ease of loan settlement and long-term goal to increase the share of reserves held in yuan to 15%. Among the key reasons advanced are the avoidance of conservation costs associated with servicing yuan-denominated loans and the need to diversify foreign reserves beyond the traditional reliance on the US dollar and gold. CSPR has commended the policy direction insofar as it appears to preserve broader monetary sovereignty through a targeted implementation scope. Specifically, the policy currently applies only to mining sector taxes and royalties, thereby maintaining traditional currency mechanisms for other government revenue streams. The organization notes that this selective approach demonstrates strategic currency diversification without requiring a comprehensive restructuring of the monetary system, which could otherwise pose significant risk. However, CSPR says the justification provided appears limited in scope, raising questions about the depth of the assessment conducted. It has further questioned whether the collection of taxes in yuan intend to avoid conversion costs for debt servicing implies that all taxes from the 4 Chinese mining firms have been ring-fenced for that purpose, and whether such collections will be sufficient to settle outstanding yuan-denominated loans. CSPR also says it remains unclear how the measure aligns with the debt management strategy and provisions for a sinking fund under the Public Debt Management Act. The organization further notes that Zambia's external debt is largely denominated in US dollars, while minerals are traded and priced in US dollars on the London Metal Exchange. In addition, CSPR has raised concern over the extent of the risk assessment conducted with regard to geopolitical factors, as well as the level of hedging strategies in place, particularly how the payable yuan in taxes will be determined. Finance Minister Stumbeko Msokotwane recently announced that government had decided to start accepting the yuan as a tax payment currency from Chinese mining companies in order to reduce conversion costs when servicing debt to China. He said the move would also help government free up resources to fund social and economic sectors such as health, education, and the social cash transfer program.
We do acknowledge that the government has provided some justifications to start accepting the Chinese RMB for tax settlement from 4 selected Chinese mining firms. And this is basically, I think, because they have advanced that they would like to ease loan settlements with the long-term goal of increasing the share of reserves in yuan to about 15%. Among some of the justifications that we have heard the ministry speak to is the fact that this measure will help to avoid conversion costs associated with servicing loans obtained in the Chinese RMB, as well as the need for diversification of foreign reserves beyond the traditional reliance on the US dollar and, of course, gold. From our perspective, we think that top line, this is a good measure. It does show some good thinking in terms of the policy direction, in as far as it appears to maintain broader monetary sovereignty through a targeted implementation scope. Specifically, the policy currently applies to mining sector taxes and royalties. As a civil society organization, we wish to underscore that it is crucial to recognize the government's position that settling loans in yuan pertains specifically to debt servicing and does not encompass all tax revenue. Our view, however, is that tax payments and loan settlements involve distinct financial flows, risks, and policy objectives, highlighting the wider fiscal implications.
Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Moyo, is leading Zambia's delegation to observe Uganda's upcoming general elections on January 15, 2026. Speaking from Kampala in a pre-election press briefing, Moyo says the mission, organized under the Forum of Parliaments of the member states of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region, FPICGLR, aims to ensure a credible, transparent and peaceful electoral process. He emphasized that the exercise is critical for maintaining political stability and fostering public trust in Uganda's democratic institutions.
Our protocol on democracy and good governance compels member states to commit to the promotion of the universal values and principles of democracy, good governance, human rights, and the right to development. The provisions in the protocol will guide observations during the 2026 Uganda's general elections in accordance with the relevant international provisions. This mandate is also in line with the provisions with Africa. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, needless to state that the Forum of Parliaments is organizing this election observation to Uganda as part of the implementation of the Interparliamentary Accord of Organization. The mission is aimed at assessing how the electoral process meets the 2006 Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance and other instruments, the African Union Charter on Democracy, Elections and Good Governance, the international standards regarding the organizations of elections, the Constitution and the electoral laws of Uganda.
In case you missed the detail, the headlines are: Skeleton widow argues marriage does not impose duty to take sick spouse to hospital. Zope calls on schools to prioritize safety in flood-prone areas ahead of reopening. NCP condemns PF removal from Tonse Alliance, and CSPR welcomes yuan tax policy, calls for clarity on mining sector taxation. On behalf of the Muvi TV crew, this is Kondwelani Jose. Good evening.
Mubuyu Christian Academy is a girls-only boarding school located near Sandy Beach in Siavonga. Mubuyu Christian Academy is now enrolling for Form 1 and Grade 10 pupils. So all girls who have just completed their Grade 7 and Grade 9 exams must take this opportunity to receive high-performance Christian-based holistic education. Help your girl child reach their full potential. Call 0976 386184. When you think girl child education, think Mubuyu Christian Academy. Mubuyu Christian Academy, excellence through Christian education. Are you a parent looking for a school with values-driven ethos and a firm belief in an all-encompassing Christian education for your child? Then look no further. At Gospel Outreach Christian Academy, we make the educational experience of your child as rewarding as possible. offering an excellent reading program that gets our reception children reading within 6 weeks, and examination practice packages tailored to prepare our learners sufficiently for final exams, helping your child make the passing choice to holistic education. A school that believes in helping struggling students get up to speed, providing for the mind, body and soul. Enroll your child in any of the grades from baby class to grade 12 and enjoy flexible payment plans with up to 5% discounts for payments made during school holidays. For information, call 0979 404809. Gospel Outreach Christian Academy,